Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is November 16, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 180 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, I'm going to mention, as I mentioned in every video, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USAS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question, comment from Amir Persaud. Hi sir, I am F1 category. My mother sponsored me. Priority date 28 September 2017 in visa bulletin. 1st September 2017 is current. My case is not open to do documentarily qualified as yet. I'm trying to call NVC but no answer. Please for your advice. Okay, let's take a look, Amir. I'm gonna double check the visa bulletin, see what's going on for that. So your NVC portal is not open yet. So we're looking at the graph B because that's the graph that is showing us the dates for filing when the priority date is becoming current for the NVC portal to open up so that you can start your documentary qualification process. So right now it's showing September 1st, 2017, and you are priority date 28 September 2017. Okay, so by the visa bulletin, and I know it is annoying because sometimes it doesn't move. I don't remember when the graph B moved last time for the F1, but judging by what we have right now, you still have 27 days. I know it is annoying because you're now not even waiting for months, you're waiting for days, but 27 days to become current. So you need to be before on the priority date, not after. So you really are close, and hopefully next month we see a positive movement for everyone on the graph B. But you really are close, but you are not current yet on the graph B, so there is still some time you need to wait. So the best thing to do for you is just keep checking on the visa bulletin. There is really no point to contact NVC. In fact, for everyone who's watching, and Amir, for you, it's too early to contact NVC. But if you plan to contact NVC, the best way to reach them and to get the fastest response is through the public inquiry, which is available online. And I do have the video on how to do that. But Amir, for you, you still have a little bit more time to wait. Hopefully, in the next month, you will see the movement 1 month, and it will be good. But from what we have right now, still 27 more days. Okay, let's move on to the next one from user. Unfortunately, YouTube does not show me some of the names, just the handles. So the user says, hi sir, good day. After documentarily qualified in last 2 years multiple times, sent mail to NVC to expedite my visa, but according to NVC, Bangladesh embassy refused. Yeah, okay, so it's Bangladesh embassy. They're probably really busy, that's why. After that, I mailed Bangladesh embassy, but they told my case is under NVC review. Yeah. Looking for the solution. Category F11. Petitioner, my mom, USA citizen, but applied time was green card. Priority date September 2014. So I think you should be current. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. Wait. Okay. Yeah. So you're definitely current. You're definitely current. Reason expediting. I need to be looking for my father. Oh, okay. So I recognize now your comment from the previous video. Okay. So 2 things. One is an option that you can do is you can apply for a non-immigrant visa, and that is a very risky option. Okay, so you're risking your money and your time, really. That's what you're risking, because whenever you apply for a non-immigrant visa, you're paying $160, and if your visa is denied, this money are not returned. And obviously time, because you have to apply, you have to go for an interview. Investment, right? Investment of time and investment of money. And there's a really high chance of getting denied for a non-immigrant visa because you have an immigrant petition going. It's not fair, but that's how it is. The consuls in the embassy, they look at the stuff that is in front of them. They see that you have an immigrant petition and now you're applying for non-immigrant visa, and then they might use it to deny. But I think it is still worth a shot. I would recommend anyone, if you have money that you can spare, $160, I think it's called. I think it is the price for the non-immigrant visa. $160, that's cool. This is the price for a non-immigrant visa. And then obviously the time. If you're okay with throwing that out, I would recommend taking that chance, because there is still a chance that you can get a non-immigrant visa, and you do have a really good reason to travel before waiting for the approval of everything. Plus, on their end, they're gonna see that you are already approved by, you're documentarily qualified. That's it. You're very close. Your immigrant visa is already available as of 4 months as of Visa Bulletin, that is. But it's been available longer, obviously. So that's one thing that you can do. And on the second note, just like I answered in the previous video, I would definitely recommend your parents to start here in the United States. Start reaching out to elected officials, senators, congressmen, and asking them to, on behalf of you, on behalf of them, to reach out to the U.S. Embassy in Bangladesh and say, hey, this guy, he's documentarily qualified, he has immigrant visa already available, his priority date is current, and he has a very good reason to, have that expedited request granted. So please review that. So 2 things: apply for non-immigrant visa, and also start here for your parents to start reaching out to elected officials. And hopefully you can get that going. Hopefully you can get that expedited request approved. But if you can get the non-immigrant visa now, it will solve all your problems, because you can just travel now, and then when you can travel back and forth, it's much easier. When you can travel back and forth and see your family, then it's okay. You're just waiting for, your immigration, for your family reunification petition to go through, and that's it. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Rithi Chan. Hello, sir. I'm F1 category, my mom's sponsor. Priority date 26 April 2017. Documentarily qualified 19 September 2023. All right, so just recently. So I have to wait for the final action date become current for the interview. Thank you. Yes, you do. The final action date, graph A, is what shows the when the immigrant visa becomes available. Really, that's what it is. So if we look, you're right now on your priority date, April 2017. We look at the Visa Bulletin graph A, January 2015. So you are April 2017. So roughly you got 2 more years. 2 more years roughly. And hopefully we will see some positive movement on the Visa Bulletin. But again, the reason why I say roughly is because, for example, from November to December, Visa Bulletin did not move at all for any of the categories, any of the graphs, for family immigration, that is. So keep that in mind. But as of right now, because you're in April, in St. Jan, it's 2 years, and April is what? 4 months, 4th month, January is 1st month. So 2 years and 3 months, roughly, you have for your priority date to become current. And once it is, your immigrant visa is available, and from then on, the interview is scheduled. Okay, let's move on to the next one from, looks like 2 comments from Fee Andres. I don't know what happened next. Please help us. Thanks and God bless. Fee Andres says, hello, sir. We are waiting for interview F2a category, and we are already documentarily qualified June 06, 2022, and our priority date is December 12, 2019 from Philippines. No email from NVC. Okay, so let's take a look. Philippines have separate chargeability area. So let's take a look. So for general availability of the immigrant visa is February 2019. So it's exactly the same. But as far as, so F2a Philippines is current. So you're already documentarily qualified. So you don't need to be waiting for email from NVC. You're waiting for the interview, not the portal opening up. Okay, so the portal, you're already documentarily qualified. So we don't need to worry about that. So we're just looking at the graph A. So right now it's showing June 2022. And here, February 2019, that's why. So you are roughly, you're documentarily qualified in June. Your priority date is in December 2019. So if it's December 2019 and February 2019, okay, I see. Now that makes sense. Okay, so by the Visa Bulletin, You still have December, so you're in December, and this is in February. So you roughly have December is month 12, this is month 2. So roughly you have about 10 more months before, becoming current. And that again, keeping in mind that every month visa bulletin moves 1 month, which is not always the case. Sometimes it doesn't move at all, sometimes it retrogresses, sometimes it moves more. So it can be faster, it can be slower, but as of right now, roughly 10 more months before the availability of the immigrant visa. Once it is available, then the interview is scheduled. So waiting for the interview to be scheduled, you probably are still looking at another, at least 6 months. So I would say you're probably realistically looking closer to the end of 2024, possibly beginning of 2025 for your interview. Okay, hopefully that's helpful, Fiandras. I'm gonna post the answer right here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from user. Hello sir, I have an issue bothering me while I wait for my interview F4 category. Sir, I have illegally entered one European country and lived there for 3 years and had a legal job. I have proof of employment. I was not deported. I voluntarily returned home. The question is, would this violation have any bearing on my interview? This is giving me sleepless nights. Okay, rightfully so. Honestly, I would say it's not as much of a problem compared to if you had the same situation coming to the US and staying here illegally and then working and then leaving. That would have been definitely a big red flag, and most likely it would have caused the issue depending on how long ago it was. But as far as Europe, if you probably had to mention on the DS260 this Europe situation, most likely. If you didn't mention, probably wouldn't be worrying about it, but you did good that you mentioned it. I would recommend just having a separate folder of documents specifically pertaining to this, with a good explanation why you were there, why you had to stay longer. If you stayed there illegally, then how did you get a job legally, right? So because Europe, still is going to be quite different rules compared to the rules here in US. And, you did return voluntarily, you haven't been deported. So it can raise some questions, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be like a huge big deal compared to if you did the same thing in the US, all right? Because in US, if you're overstaying and you're, if you overstay, that's it. You're considered to be illegal, on the, and then obviously if you are leaving the country, that's it. You are, you get a stamp in your passport showing that you overstayed your stay, and that's definitely not good. That can cause problems in a lot of, really any kind of immigration case you're dealing with. It's gonna come up. But as far as Europe, I don't think it's gonna be that that important. But I would still have a separate folder with documents pertaining to that, and just a really good explanation on why. Because depending on the circumstances, maybe you had to stay, maybe you just couldn't leave on time, or whatever. There can be different reasons, but as long as you can provide a good explanation, if the questions come up during your interview for your family reunification, you should be good. Okay, so let me post the answer here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Schoolar. In F11 visa, they removed my sister's name from interview email. It's only me and my mother. Why they did it? We both are unmarried and over 21. Is it common? Will my sister get visa again? Okay, so let me ask you, did you get an email first with your sister and then you got another email without your sister's name? If that's the case, then yeah, it's a little bit suspicious, and I would definitely dig into it, reach out to the NDC, see what's going on, reach out to the US Embassy. You can call them. Just find the embassy, depending on which country you're in. You can find it on usembassy.gov. There's a list of all the countries. Just click on whatever country you're from, and it will show you let's say if it's Austria, for example. I don't know why I always click on Austria, but there you go. The US Embassy in Austria, and you can call them and find out what's going on. But if you did just receive the email for yourself for an interview, then most likely there will be a separate email coming from your sister. Maybe they just scheduled the interview for your sister on a little bit of further date. That's really it. So I would give it another, at least a month and see what's going on. And if nothing, if the priority date, if everything is the same day as for you and for your sister, just call the U.S. Embassy and ask them what's going on. But most likely they're just gonna have a separate interview for your sister. They're not gonna do it together. Sometimes they do it, but I think because you guys are over 21, I think they're gonna go as two separate interviews. Most likely, that's what I'm suspecting. But again, if it's first, where you did receive for both of you guys together, and then you received another email and she's not there anymore, then it's a little bit of a suspicious, and you definitely need to dig into it and find out what's going on. But hopefully it's the second one, in which case there's really not much to worry about. She's just waiting for her own interview. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Wilma Samaranos. I was petitioned by my father. It was approved June 5th, 2014. And I'm included in Visa Bulletin F2b. It was priority date 1st December 11. I'm from Philippines. Okay, so let's take a look at the Visa Bulletin, see what's going on. So Philippines, separate chargeability area. F2b, we're looking at October 2011. Man, it's a long time to wait. October 2011, F2b, Philippines. Let's see. So you are with priority date December 2011. So you've been waiting already a long time. So since December 2011. Okay. Wow. So you are in December 2011, and right now we are on almost November, 22nd October. So you're like a month away. You're like just a month away from the availability of the immigrant visa. Again, keep in mind that Visa Bulletin, sometimes it doesn't move. So it doesn't mean that next month you're going to be current. You might be waiting another 3, 4, 5 months before becoming current, but on the Visa Bulletin, you're just over a month away from becoming current. So for you right now, it's very important to keep checking Visa Bulletin every month it comes up. As soon as it comes up, just check on it. On this channel, I do once a new Visa Bulletin comes up, I do make a separate video for it, and I compare it to the previous months, so you can see what moved and what did not move. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing. But roughly a little bit over a month on the Visa Bulletin. Okay, moving further to Fada Moslast. Yeah, my case had a significant delay. I was notified of visa availability in 2019, but because of the COVID-19, we couldn't move ahead with NVC requirements. And later my petitioner got sick and admitted at the hospital for over a year. Eventually the case was terminated by the NVC. Oh man, and later reinstated 6 months after. That's the reasons for the delay. Aren't interviews allocated based priority dates? I see. So Fada, thank you very much for clarifying this. Man, that's crazy. So I'm glad that they reinstated the case and now it's moving along. I'm really glad that happened and that worked out for you. So whenever it comes to, yes, the interviews are, scheduled based on the priority date, you have to be current on the Visa Bulletin before the interview is scheduled. However, you also have to keep in mind, like you've seen in my previous response to not even my response, to the comment, one of the comments, a person from Bangladesh, and they are waiting, and they have a really, really important reason for the case to be expedited, but Bangladesh US Embassy, they just refused. They keep refusing, to grant that expedited processing. And the reason why they're doing it is because they're really busy. They just cannot accommodate. Whenever they approve the expedited request, what they do is they basically look into their schedule and they move stuff around, and then they fit you in front of the line. And they cannot do it. That's why they keep denying it, which is really sad. But with that being said, yes, priority date is very important, absolutely. But you are also looking at where your interview is going to be taking place, which country. And countries with heavier immigration, they will always take longer for the interview to be scheduled, because you do have your priority date is current, okay, so let's schedule it. But we have the line of 300 people waiting also with current priority dates for their interview. So you're at the very end of that line now. That's, you know, that's why there are people that have been current on the priority date, you know, for a year and a half, for 2 years, and that are still waiting for their interviews because, you know, because of the U.S. Embassy. So with that being said, you can do a few things, all right? If your embassy is too busy, and if you've been waiting for a long time and nothing is happening, I have seen people switch the U.S. Embassy. They reach out to the NVC and then they switch the U.S. Embassy to another country where it's not too far for them to travel, where they can go through that interview. It is a possible option that you can look at. Obviously, like I was mentioning earlier, one of the things that you can do is you can apply for a non-immigrant visa if you have emergency and you need to come to the United States. But Fada, in your situation, honestly, it really is, you know, the best thing to do is just give it a little bit more time and wait for that interview to be scheduled in your home country, because that's always going to be the best. The best strategy really to do it, because when you go to another country to go through the interview in another country, it's additional questions. Additional questions like, well, why are you not going through an interview in your country? And, you know, and you don't want questions like this on an interview, because they're not good questions. They're trick questions that, you know, they just won't, you know, find something to, you know, dig into, and you definitely don't want to give them that opportunity. But thank you very much. I really appreciate you providing additional details. Hopefully my response will be helpful to you. Okay, moving further to Osik Wartang. Documentary qualified since July 6, 2022, yet no interview date. I'm F1 category from Ghana. Please help. Osik, so you're documentarily qualified, that's definitely great, but what is your priority date? I definitely need to know, because most likely, if you're still waiting, most likely your priority date is not current. So if we look at the visa bulletin for graph A, F1, right now it is January 2015. If your priority date is before January 2015, then your immigrant visa is already available. It means your priority date is current and the interview is already most likely scheduled. You're just waiting for the interview. But if your priority date is after January 2015, then it means you still have a little bit more time to wait, depending on how far after January 2015 you are. So take a look at the visa bulletin, and if you want, come back to this channel and let me know your priority date. Just make sure not to respond to my comment within your comment. Submit it as a separate comment, and I'll get back to it in the next volume. Okay, moving further to Walal Zaki, IR2, so immediate relative category, that's great. Priority date 17th June 2020, documentarily qualified July 2022, consulate Kenya, still no interview. When should I expect an interview schedule? Okay, Walal, so literally any time now. The reason why I'm saying that is because you are in immediate relative category and you've been already documentarily qualified for over a year. You've been documentarily qualified now, so July is month 7 and we are in 11. That is 5 months. Yeah. So you've been documentarily qualified for a year and 5 months now, which is on the longer, you know, is on the longer side, but at the same time, you know, not as long as some people wait in some countries. So you are within the normal. You are definitely within the normal. I would recommend calling consulate in Kenya and asking them, saying, hey guys, you know, I am an immediate relative category. I have been documentarily qualified now for almost a year and a half. I was wondering when my interview is scheduled for. I am pretty sure your interview is already scheduled. You just don't know it yet because they announced the interview no later than 30 days before the actual interview date, so that you have 30 days to do the medical examination. In some very rare cases, they do 6 months. No, not 6 months. I think it's 60 days. In some situations they do. And I'm not sure why they do 60 days sometimes. But most of the times it is 30 days. Just for that medical examination window. So, with that being said, let me give you the, let's see, Kenya. Let's see, there you go, Kenya. There you go, in Nairobi. So this is their phone number right here. Give them a call. Just be very polite, very professional over the phone. Say, hey, you know, immediate relative category here. documentarily qualified for a year and a half. Just want to see if you can give me the date when my interview was scheduled for. Don't be upset if they say no, we can't give you that information. Most often they don't give that information, but it is worth a shot because you might get somebody nice on the phone and it is not an official announcement, so they can just look in their scheduling system and say, oh yeah, it was scheduled for January 2024. And if your interview is scheduled for, let's say, January 24, you're not going to find out about it until December 2023, 30 days before. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Psych Snap Facts. Is it possible to change B1, B2 visa into work visa after arriving in US? If so, it's easy or hard? I do not have college degree though. So Psych Snap Facts, I wouldn't necessarily say it is easy, but it's not really that hard either. Okay, so depending on how you look at it, it really all depends if you are able to find an employer who is willing to sponsor your, whether it's non-immigrant or immigrant visa, work visa. Obviously, it's easier to start with a non-immigrant visa first, and then kind of eventually grow that into, because you have to keep in mind it's a relationship between you, a prospective employee, right, and an employer. Okay, just one thing be careful with is if you're showing intentions to work in the United States of America whenever you're applying for a B1, B2, that's a problem. Okay, because whenever you're applying for B1, B2, the only intentions you're supposed to have is to visit United States. Okay, whether it's business pleasure, but you're visiting, you're not working. Okay, and then from then on, if you meet up with somebody for business and then they're like, hey, you know what, you should work for my company, I'm gonna sponsor your non-immigrant visa, then yeah, of course, everything is possible, and yes, it is possible to change it. If you want to do a little bit more research on that particular switch from B1, B2 to non-immigrant work visa, is take a look at the I-129. I do have a video on this channel on I-129, but that would be the form that you would be filing to switch to a non-immigrant work visa. But again, you have to keep in mind that there's a very important side here in this equation is the employer. Okay, if someone is willing, because whenever it comes to work stuff, whether it's non-immigrant or immigrant, it is the employer that is filing all these petitions. So they have to have interest in you, in your work ability and so far so forth, and then they have to be willing to file all of these petitions for you to sponsor you. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it is doable. It is doable, and people do it all the time. They do their status changes and stuff like this. There's another form that is you probably want to be looking at is I-539, which is the non-immigrant status change. If you are changing from B1, B2, then you're probably going to be dealing with I-539. But again, it really depends on the employer. So yeah, it's doable. It definitely is doable. It's I wouldn't necessarily say it's easy, but it's not really hard either. The hardest part, I think, is finding the employer who's willing to petition for you. Okay, moving further to the next one from Erica Ashley, or Eric A. Ashley, F2a, documentarily qualified, March 2022, priority date, February 2020, petition my wife and minor daughter in the Philippines. How many more months or year before they will get interview appointment? Thank you in advance. I'm a permanent resident. Okay, let's take a look at the visa bulletin, see what's going on. So you're dealing with F2a. You're already documentarily qualified and priority date is in 2020, February. So we're going to look at the graph A for Philippines. Let's see, F2a, graph A, Philippines right now. Oh, it's the same thing as the rest of the world, which is great. Right now on February 2019, and you are February 2020. Okay, so you were exactly 1 year on the visa bulletin from the visas becoming current for your wife and your daughter. So another year, it's I know it's quite a long time, and for everyone, I'm an immigrant myself, so I know what it is like to wait. I have a petition, I-130 petition, and I will be waiting another 13 years on it. So So when I say, hey, you only have 1 year to wait, please don't take it, offensively. I understand what it is like to wait. So one more here on the visa bulletin, but keep in mind, again, visa bulletin, sometimes it doesn't move, sometimes it moves, so it might actually be longer, it might be possibly faster, because we've seen some good movement on F2a. If there is one good moving category, it's F2a. So hopefully it will move faster for you, but as of right now, roughly another year before their visas become current. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for all your questions. Hopefully my answers were helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, just drop them in the comments below. Don't respond to my comment within your comment, because YouTube does not send me those notifications for whatever reason. Just submit it as a separate comment and it will show up here on this wall, and I'll address it in one of the next forums. So thanks again for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.